Driving simulators seem to be growing in popularity. I don't understand it personally, but they are. One thing a lot of new players of driving simulators and games in general seem to be unaware of or not particularly knowledgeable about is field of view and how field of view affects the gameplay. So I've put together this little video to explain why you might want to knock down your field of view a couple of notches the next time you get into a virtual vehicle. As a little disclaimer, those of you that are experienced with first-person shooters and driving simulators, you might want to give this video a miss because you'll want to stab me in the neck by the end of it. Let's start things off by asking the question, what the hell is field of view? And as usual, Wikipedia has a really good concise answer. Field of view in video games, or simply field of vision, abbreviated FOV, is the extent of the observable game world that is seen on the display at any given moment. One thing we have to bear in mind is that when we increase the field of view, increasing what we can see on the screen stays the same size, so everything has to be squashed onto this tiny little screen in front of us, which ends up with a massive distorted mess. But if we decrease the field of view to get something closer to what you'd see in the real world if you were looking through a window the same size as your screen, we have another problem. Everything's bloody zoomed in like you're looking down binoculars, and you can't see all those nice cockpit details. So what is the right field of view? Well, as a cop-out, I don't think there is one, unless we have a screen that fills our entire view so we can have everything be exactly like it is in the real world. It's always going to be some kind of compromise. Now the follow-up question is, which compromise is more suited to you? And this is where I'm going to help you decide. A lower, more one-to-one field of view, you'll get the following advantages. It's far easier to pick up visual nuances in the physics and subtle little movements that you can then snap react to. It's a lot easier to see and hit exact breakpoints, making you far more consistent lap on lap. The scale of the track objects and cambers and road variations all line up far better with the real world counterparts. If you can excuse the lack of visibility, it's far more believable, and for a lot of people far more immersive than a wider field of view. With a higher field of view, you'll get these advantages. You can see out both side windows, making it easier for you to decide when is the perfect time to punt someone off the track. You get a better view of the cockpit so you can pretend that you're touching your hand on expensive fabric that you could never afford to buy. You often get a far greater sense of speed from the distortion the objects whiz past the edge of the screen as if you're doing the Kessel Run. Those of you with your listening ears on might have noticed that I was somewhat sarcastic about a wider field of view and a little bit disparaging, but not too much. The point is, if you're playing a driving simulator, you're probably trying to simulate driving, and it's going to be more realistic with a lower field of view. Granted, if you've got a tiny screen, you're fucked. You can try moving that screen closer to you, but there's going to be a limit to how close you can sellotape your screen to your face unless you're using the Oculus Rift. Now this is why a lot of people use TVs for driving simulators, or even multi-screen setups where they get 3 screens and multiple graphics cards to power those screens. By having larger screen, you can then run a lower field of view while still being able to see to the left and right of you. So the next time you're playing a driving simulator, if you have a small screen, maybe try knocking the field of view down a bit and seeing if you can get used to it, and you might be surprised as to how realistic things can feel. If you're already playing with 3 monitors or have a large screen, then you have no bloody excuse and you should jump out of your window right now. Go to this link to find out how to exactly set up your monitor to make it one-to-one with real life, and you will be in sim racing nirvana, I tell you. Those of you considering getting 3 screens because you want to be in sim racing nirvana, hold it a minute and wait a couple of months, because the Oculus Rift might change your mind on that. It might not, but it probably will, and you'll want to get one anyway. So, thanks for watching. I hope this video was useful. Don't forget there's a subscribe and like button that you have to press, otherwise the world will collapse. Bear in mind you can ask questions in the comments, and I encourage everyone else to answer other people's questions. I have a dream, and that dream is that one day no one will have field of view problems.